Morning. Welcome back to another episode of Mad Mondays. Filming this on a Tuesday. I'm out here for my morning walk, but just thought I'd turn the camera on and answer some questions for you guys. If you guys haven't heard of this series before, this is episode 11. So make sure you go check out the other ones, check out the rest of my channel, subscribe, leave a like, comment, all of that helps the channel. But anyway, today I'm going to be answering some questions about collaborations and partnerships, which is a good subject, really. Something that I don't get to talk about often. The first question that we have is, what do you look for in a potential collaborator? And there's a couple of different ways that I can take that, but the first way that I want to take it is, as a father and as someone with limited time and someone with schedule, I'm often looking for flexibility and understanding of my situation. If there's people who from the jump just show that they don't have an understanding for what it means to have the responsibilities that I do, oftentimes that collaboration is not going to go anywhere. It's not going to lead to anything, and it's not going to be able to, flourish. And that's fine. I never take that stuff personally, but I'm looking for people who understand that I'm not going to be able to get into the studio every single night. We've heard stories before about like Eminem, for example, who treats the studio like it's a 9-to-5 job. And then after 5, he's locked in, family time. He's at home, watching TV with his kids. I mean, his kids are older now, but like that's primarily how things have gone for a long period of time. And that's how my approach was. How I want my approach to be to the whole music thing is, I love this shit, but at the end of the day, I got kids, I got a family. So I need that level of understanding. But also, just on a fundamental level, I need to mess with you as a person, and I need you to mess with me too. And if we don't gel, like if we can't catch a vibe like that when we're in person, then more often than not, it's not going to work out. I'm very fortunate that, the people that I do work with, we kind of get along on a base level. Me and Iconic Beats, me and Levi, me and Kobe, for example, like we just get along as people. And that's always a bonus. Like when you're able to get along with someone and then also find creativity in one another, then things are more often than not going to work out. Another major thing for me is work ethic. Like I move quite different, I want to say. For the most part, I try and maximize my time as best as possible. Often that gets confused as desperation or, trying to force it too much. But the fact of the matter is, I know where I want to be. I know what I'm trying to achieve and what it takes to get there. Anything less than 100% just isn't going to cut it for me. And I need to see that sort of work rate matched in my collaborators, if that makes sense. So, for example, I'm out here, it's 5:55, 555, shout out to the angel numbers. I came out here to get an early start on my 10,000 steps a day, and I also brought my vlogging camera. And now I'm answering questions to do with collaborations and partnerships, So I'm multitasking. I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But that's just the sort of thing that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find different ways to keep the journey going where, I can't do the traditional ways, if that makes sense. And the reason why I'm getting these 10,000 steps in is because I have a goal to get in the best shape of my life for multiple reasons. And one of them being, I want to have a better on-stage presence. I want to have a better live performance aspect to Nomad222. And the only way to do that is by putting in the work. So yeah, work rate, work ethic, the desire to be great is something that is greatly appreciated by myself when it comes to my collaborators, my partnerships. Question number 2, can you share a memorable collaboration experience and what you learned from it? I mean, there's so many. There's a million different examples of where, you know, my collaborations with someone has resulted in something amazing and greater than what I could have come up with by myself. I think the first one that comes to mind is, I want to say 2018 or 2019. Whatever the year was when Dreamville did the whole Revenge of the Dreamers 3 project, or just a little bit before. I think they had just finished those sessions and J. Cole released Middle Child. So when J. Cole released Middle Child, I was at Iconic Beats studio, and this was before he had the container. For those of you who know, before he had the container, and it was in that front room of his family home. We were there, we were cooking up, we were working on something completely different, and then I saw the notification that J. Cole just dropped Middle Child. We listened to it together. The message hit us so hard because I feel like both of us recognized that I was kind of in a position where I didn't quite fit in with the new style of rap that was taking over, whether that was drill, whether that was trap music, things like that. That sort of wasn't my bag. It wasn't what I felt was authentic to me. But I also felt like I wasn't the old school, the old head type of music that you like that boom bap sort of thing. Like, it was definitely something I could tap into, but that wasn't my primary bag. Anyway, so that was something that really resonated with us when we listened to Middle Child. And then I remember looking at Pete and thinking, man, we should flip this. And then I think it was Pete, Iconic Beats, who took it a step further and said, man, we should flip this in 24 hours. So he got to work with reverse engineering, reproducing the T-minus beat, while I got to work on, writing my own verses and stuff. And we just went crazy. Finished writing like 3 verses, rewriting the hook, laying the vocals, and we spent like hours just mixing and mastering. We had Saya and As1 come to the studio and just give us their thoughts on it. And I remember Saya telling me, like, when I sent the snippet to them, that he was like, at first he was like, man, you can't do that to someone, like, that's disrespectful. How you gonna flip Cole's song the day that he dropped it? But then when he got there and he actually heard it for the first time, like, he heard the 3rd verse, which was kind of a homage to J. Cole and Dreamville and everything, and he was like, yeah, no, this one's different. This one's different. And I think Milo might have came too. But that was a good night. And like, while we were waiting for it to like export and bounce and everything like that, we like jumped in Iconic's pool. And we're just chilling. We like spent pretty much the whole night over there. Went home like early morning stuff. Brooklyn did the cover art for that flip. Dropped it on SoundCloud like 24 hours after it dropped, after the original dropped. And the response to that was crazy. Like, no one was expecting it, but that hands down has to be one of my favorite collaborations, just because I feel like that was one of the last times that it felt like we were just trying to make something dope. And I want to say, like, for the most part, it always feels like that. But to be quite honest, like, for the most part, it's felt like a lot of pressure. But that time didn't feel like pressure. It felt like, you know, internal pressure we were putting on ourselves, just for the sheer fact that we wanted to challenge ourselves and we wanted to be able to say that we did this in 24 hours. But it wasn't anything external that was like, you know, you guys need to make a hit, you guys need to do something crazy. It was literally just us being like, we can do this. Let's do it, and let's make sure we do it. And it was fun. At the end of the day, it was fun. And that's what makes a quality collaboration a great interaction. So yeah. Question number 3, how do collaborations influence your creative process? I've always said it. Whenever I'm in a room with other creatives, I'm able to feed off that energy, and I'm able to create at a faster pace than I can on my own. When I'm on my own, I get a lot of writer's block. I struggle a lot to find words. I struggle a lot to, you know, string things together and get into a flow and a rhythm. But when there's other people there and I'm able to, you know, have a soundboard and just bounce ideas back and forth straight away, that's typically where I find the more rewarding outcomes of collaborating and things like that. So I definitely prefer to collaborate with other people and be in a room full of people. And that's why I like things like the whole Revenge of the Dreamers 3 sessions. And a while back, I got to be part of this thing called All Corners, which was like 2019, 2020. We had the sessions in 2019 or early 2020. And then the actual project dropped on like 2021 with the whole documentary and everything like that. And you'll see, if you go watch the All Corners documentary on the New Wave Infinity page, you will see that there was just so many people in this one house, and it was literally like a writer's camp. And that sort of setting, for me, that's where I thrive. And that's something that I desire to bring back and annualize. I want to see that happening every single year, where emerging talent can come together and be part of this writers camp and just create something incredibly dope. And yeah, that for me is where I thrive the most, and I prefer to be, instead of, you know, isolated in my garage cooking shit up myself. Question 4, what challenges have you faced while collaborating with others? Distance. For example, I've been working a lot with Levi lately. I live in the Wyndham area, and my brother Levi lives all the way out in Templestowe. And often our ability to be in the same room and cooking up together is often limited by just the fact that I can't afford petrol that week, or I'm having car troubles, he's maybe busy with work or something. And yeah, it's just little things that prevent us from being great and being great together. And that's the biggest challenge ultimately. And then having to try and be flexible and try and figure out a way to make it work for now, remotely, whether that's like, you know, we hop on a call here and there to give each other notes about current versions of a song, and then those notes are hard to translate because we're not in the same room, so things don't end up sounding how we want it to sound. And I say this, you know, this is mainly just an example. We've been able to make do and make it work, but I would prefer to not have to make it work and just have it work out from the jump. And that's just a personal preference, right? But yeah, I'd say that's the biggest challenge at the moment, is just lifing. I would prefer it if life would not life so much. And yep, thank you for listening to my requests, Mr. Genie. But anyway, that's how I feel. How do you ensure that collaborations align with your artistic vision? everything's a conversation, isn't it? So I just try and have that conversation with whoever I'm collaborating with as early as possible. Make sure that we're on the same page. One thing that kind of grinds my gears is when the conversation immediately starts to become about business. And I understand the necessity for it. I understand the desire to want to get it out early and just make sure that everything is, above board. Everyone's getting paid fairly. But at the end of the day, I'm not there yet. I'm not financially secure in my career. And I don't have a track record for wanting to fuck anyone over when it comes to money. And I feel like that more often than not is understated. And I just wish that we could get back to a point where creatives can just create with one another without having to worry about, if someone's getting a flat fee or if someone's getting a fair split on royalties. Sorry, there's just a bunch of gnats now out of nowhere. But I fully understand the paranoia that comes with that. When you work hard on something, you want to make sure that you're fairly compensated for your hard work. I fully get that. But then I also think about instances where people have clearly put their egos and their personal desires aside and allowed collaboration to take center stage, and then together they've been able to build something truly great. That's how you get things like TDE or Dreamville, where those are clear examples of groups of people just understanding that if one of us eats, we all eat. Once upon a time, the main guy was supposed to be J-Rock. Kendrick was going to all the meetings. And we all know what Kendrick turned out to be. We all know what Kendrick is now. But once upon a time, he was a background player. He was at J-Rock's XXL freshman ciphers, just in the background. No one knew who he was. And now look at him. He's considered one of the goats of rap, and he's still young. But I say all that to say that was the result of humility and understanding that, and that's no disrespect to J-Rock either, but he was the first. And Kendrick doesn't get to where he is unless he's able to set his ego aside and be a team player, be a role player. And I think that's extremely important. That's, it's not about, regardless of if this song is big, I need my $400 cash, or you need to pay me for my time. Like, that's cool and all. Like, if that's your business, that's fine. But you're not going to see longevity like that. The longevity comes from building something truly great and collaboration. And being able to recognize the potential in something. And that's something that I'm struggling with at the moment, is that when people don't see the value in what I'm creating and what I'm building, and they just want to charge me a flat fee for a beat, or they want to charge me whatever it is, and they want to make the conversation all about like paying what you're owed, instead of let's just create something dope and put it out into the world. When they can't recognize the work ethic and the hustle that I'm willing to pour into this, it gets me a little bit down, because then it's like, well, if you don't just want to collaborate and put something dope out and then just see what we can get from it, then that must mean that you don't believe in me. More often than not, that's not the case. Most of the time, it's simply the fact that that's their business model. And they're just trying to make an income with their skill set. And I gotta keep in mind, I gotta keep in perspective that there's nothing wrong with that. Often it's hard to do, but it is something that I'm trying to get better at. So yeah, I just wanted to make note of that and make it clear. I'm not going at anyone who, you know, just wants to be on BeatStars selling beats and things like that. That's completely fine. It's more just a selfish desire to, you know, want to see us all be great and see us all get a seat at the table with food on our plates. So anyway, what role do partnerships play in your overall brand strategy? At the moment, not much. I mean, you know, there's my personal brand with Nomad222. What that represents to me as an artist who's also a family man, a father of 4 kids. Then there's also We Move Co, which is a brand that I'm trying to get off the ground and still developing and building, but a brand that nonetheless I want to be synonymous with community. And, you know, whether that's my cultural communities or my artistic community, building programs, working with young people, developing new artists, new strategies, things like that. We Move Music Group. It's the record label where we empower new independent artists, give them the resources and the tools to make them great, or to help them to be great and achieve their full potential. So there's the brands that are immediately important to me, but then there's also brands that I feel like align with what I'm doing. For example, like, you know, I'm filming this on a Canon G7X. If I didn't have this camera, I probably wouldn't have had the you know, just having this camera in my possession has opened up doors for me, you know. A couple years ago, I wasn't keen on the thought of vlogging, but now I've got this, and I'm out for a walk in the morning, just talking my shit, just answering questions. It's opened up completely new doors for me, and just different ways to think about how I can interact with you guys. So Canon is a brand that I want to get in touch with. DJI is a brand that I want to get in touch with. EHP, you see it here in this bottle. Every single day I'm drinking like 3 different EHP Labs drinks. At the moment I've got Oxy Reds. I'll go home. This morning I had a scoop of pre-workout. I'll probably have some Oxy Greens later, with some glutamine, with some marine collagen. So EHP is, you know, integral to my overall health and staying healthy enough that I'm able to function and keep doing this stuff and create more content. So yeah, there's a lot of brands that align with who I am, and a lot of brands that I desire to collaborate with. And those are just a couple more to say. If you want to know more about that, let me know in the comments, because I'll probably make I've been wanting to do like a wish list video for a while, or like a dreams and goals sort of thing, where I get to talk about what exactly I'm after. There's 2 kangaroos over here just scrapping. I don't know if you can see them. Let me just get this on camera. But yeah, I want to make a video like that, but only if you guys want to see it. So let me know in the comments. Anyway, final question in this topic: how do you nurture relationships with fellow artists? It's quite difficult. Like I said, I'm isolated. I've got 4 kids. I live out in, you know, not the far, but quite far from the CBD in the western suburbs. It's hard for me to get around sometimes. Petrol prices have never been higher. And the cost of living just sucks, so it's quite hard for me to travel out and you know, be in the same room as people. So I find myself often trying to interact with people remotely, and I find that can put some unnecessary tension and some artificial strain on certain relationships. There's a couple people who I feel like around 2020, 2018, 2019, I had way better relationships with, and was collaborating with a lot more frequently, but due to the pandemic and the rise in cost of living, those relationships have kind of crumbled and deteriorated, and we don't hang out much. We don't kick it, we don't create much, we don't check in on each other much. But for those who I am collaborating with now, I just try and, you know, check in here and there, see how they're doing. I try and stay on the pulse of like what we can do together, whether that's checking in about a song or checking in about a video, and just talking about that, what they're working on, what they've got going on, and just try and stay up to date with them. I wish I could do more. I wish that I could hang out with people more. I wish I could go out for coffees more. To be honest, I don't really drink coffee. But I have a desire to, just for the sheer social aspect and the ability to get in the same room as people. So it's quite frustrating at the moment. I'm hoping that as things become a little bit more sustainable, as my kids get a little bit older, money gets a little less tighter, I can branch out a bit more, meet up with people more, be in the same room, be in studios, be in the same coffee houses or whatever, and just be able to kick it with people a little bit more frequently. Check in with them, see how they're doing, see what we can do together. But yeah, in terms of nurturing relationships, I'm not an expert at that at all. I'm not the best person to ask about tips and tricks on how to keep that going. All I know is that if if you want a plant to grow, you got to water it. And me myself, you can't pour into another cup without filling yours first. And my cup has been depleted and running on empty for years now, and I'm just trying to find out where the best source of water is. I'm sorry, it's early in the morning. I just finished my walk. I gotta get this dead hang in, but I'm sorry if that metaphor didn't make any sense. I kind of blended like 5 together in one. But if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed these answers to these questions, please leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike too, that's fine. Comment below what else you want to see me answer, and let me know what you think about some of the things that I said. If you agree or you disagree, let's have a conversation in the comment section. And last but not least, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get that golden play button, and we're trying to push. It's a big push here. You know, it's push day today, so that's fortunate. But yeah, just subscribe to the channel, please. And remember that together we move.